Hello, I'm Andrew, and I'm going to be talking about what goes on in the touchscreen area of the Flick. We thought that the best way to illustrate the potential of the Flick is by showing how each member of this family utilizes the remote. One of the great things about the Flick is how flexible it is, allowing everyone from the tech-savvy to the technophobic a tool to enhance their television experience. Meet Dave. Dave really likes having new technology, but he doesn't always know how to use it. He's the type of person who has an iPhone, but doesn't have any apps. He likes the Flick because it looks impressive and it has a lot of functionality. It's also easy enough to use that he is able to figure out how to do pretty much everything he needs to. When Dave comes home from work, he just wants to zone out in front of the TV, flicking through channels and watching anything that catches his eye. The Flick has greatly enhanced his channel flicking experience, allowing him to quickly and easily see what else is on. Because the entire interface exists on the remote itself and not on the television screen, Dave can see what else is on without annoying any other family members that have joined him. When Dave turns on the TV by pressing the power button thumbprint reader, his personalized home screen appears on the remote. Here he is able to quickly see what's on now on his previously selected favorite channels, as well as his most recent recordings. He can press View All to see the rest of his recordings presented in a list, as well as the recordings of the other users of the remote. A scrolling marquee at the bottom of the remote screen tells him what he is currently watching. If Dave sees something that he wants to watch, whether it is on now or previously recorded content, he simply flicks it towards the screen. If he wants to record live TV, Dave flicks the item towards himself, which adds it to his queue. Dave also uses the guide to find out what's on that he might want to watch. The guide is presented as a schedule, with what he is currently watching displayed in yellow and everything else in blue. If something is being recorded, a red record icon is shown next to the title. Suppose Dave wants to watch Futurama. He simply touches the item on the schedule, and a screen pops up with more information. To play the item now, he flicks it towards the screen. To record it for later, he flicks it towards himself, which adds Futurama to his recording queue. Mandy is an extremely busy woman. She doesn't have time to just sit around watching live TV, waiting through commercial breaks. She therefore makes extensive use of the DVR, finding out about programs through the newspaper, magazines, and the internet. She also likes finding programs that other members of her family might enjoy. Mandy's busy schedule requires her to multitask. The chat feature allows her to catch up with friends and discuss shows they are both viewing while watching TV. The chat allows two people in different places to use their respective flicks to communicate about the program they are simultaneously watching. It brings a social aspect to TV watching, an otherwise relatively antisocial activity. Enabling audio chat allows for hands-free communication through the television's audio system. Mandy, as well as all other users, are able to customize their experience using the Settings tab. TV settings adjust the way the screen appears. Audio settings control the sound. Remote settings is where she can customize her Flick experience, enabling and disabling certain features as well as skinning the interface. In parental controls, Mandy is able to adjust settings for any user that has been identified as a child. Here, she is able to set a maximum rating as well as time limits on Katie's TV watching. Because the Flick identifies Katie by her thumbprint when she uses it to turn on the TV, the parental controls only apply to her, and the rest of the family doesn't have to deal with passwords and other annoyances common in television parental controls. Stuart doesn't use the TV that much, preferring instead to watch programs on his computer in his room. Sometimes he will join the family when they are watching a movie. He's obsessed with 30 Rock, which he prefers to watch live. Stuart really enjoys making use of the Extras tab on the Flick, where he can add applications that further enhance his television watching experience. Stuart has downloaded a 30 Rock application as well as a Tetris application, which gives him something to do while waiting through channel commercials when he happens to be watching live television. The Extras tab really opens up a lot of possibilities for the Flick, allowing the producers of programs to supply fans with extra features that normally would need to be accessed on devices separate from the television. The Flick allows content to be seamlessly integrated with the television watching experience. This is an example of what an application might look like. This one has clips, episode summaries, and a place for discussions. Stuart is able to flick content in the application to the screen just as if it were a recorded program. The content does not reside on the Flick itself, but is connected wirelessly through the DVR. Katie doesn't get to watch a lot of television. She is only allowed 1 hour per day after school and 2 hours on weekends. Her parents don't want her to be able to watch things that might be inappropriate, which is why Mandy has set up parental controls that limit the type of programs Katie is able to watch. Katie has figured out how to go into the Settings tab and skin her interface to her liking. Like the other members of her family, she is able to see what is on now, as well as what she has pre-recorded. The chat feature has been disabled. Katie is able to also access other users' recordings, but only the ones that are deemed appropriate. Gwen doesn't really like newfangled technology, and she wasn't too excited when Dave brought home this fancy new remote control. She doesn't use the DVR at all. Because she is retired, she is able to organize her day around programs she wants to watch. Mandy helped her set up the Flick so that when she turns it on with her thumb, it brings up the simple interface, which is just big buttons on the screen. Gwen finds the actual physical buttons on the remote very easy to use and actually likes the Flick a lot better than the family's previous remote with its mystifying array of buttons. Although Gwen does not take advantage of any of the features that the Flick offers, she is still able to use the remote like the rest of the family. So what happens when somebody new visits the house? How are they able to use the Flick? Victor is a regular visitor to the house. As someone who enjoys new technology, he was excited when the family got the Flick, and he was eager to try it. When Victor uses his thumb to turn on the television, the Flick doesn't recognize it as one of the users. It brings up a screen asking if he wants to retry, continue as a guest, or create a new user. Victor decides to continue as a guest, which brings him to the default interface. The Chat and Extras tabs have been disabled, as well as the ability to record items and choose favorite channels. Victor is able to browse through live TV programs, as well as items other people have recorded. Being a regular visitor to the home, however, Victor decides to add himself as a user. He touches Create a New User, where he is able to add his name, add a chat username, choose his interface style, add favorite channels, etc. Now every time he turns on the television with the Flick, it recognizes him and brings up his content and preferences. He is also given the option to watch a demo demonstrating how to use the Flick, as well as the different features available. The Flick allows all types of users an enhanced television experience that is beyond simply watching TV. As the only method the user has to interact with a TV, most remotes typically limit interaction. The Flick serves to open